look, it's been an exciting past couple of days. The weekend was full of drama, espionage, secrets, everything you can imagine, and plenty of astroturfing, ready to go around and expose all of the game journalists in the industry. That's right, our champion Reforged Gaming. I couldn't even get that. I couldn't even get that out without a smile. I couldn't. I really couldn't. No, apparently Reforged is on an actual crusade to try and expose Paris Lily for being an AstroTurf or an Xbox shill. Even though we've seen Paris literally on the Xbox stage multiple times. But okay, I guess he's gonna do the big show for everybody. Look, Paris is a colleague of mine. I wouldn't even say colleague, an acquaintance, a friend, what have you. He's on my channel, on my streams 100%, but he's not above criticism. Never forget this, Paris. Never forget. But you see, when you take yourself too seriously, when you try to make yourself an authority figure, things can turn around and basically bite you in the rear end. As it turns out with our friend Reforged Gaming, that's exactly what happened to him. What am I talking about? Well, apparently Reforged is claiming that many other game journalists and outlets that have been interviewing with Phil Spencer are in fact astroturfing for Xbox, basically trying to change a narrative in order to make you feel like Xbox is doing better. Not even realizing that maybe people can change their opinions about things after multiple years and even start to realize that, hey, maybe exclusivity isn't that really great of a thing, especially now in 2025. Hell, even the gamer 2323 figured it out.
We all grown now. Before it was like, you can't do that. You gotta show loyalty to PlayStation 5. You gotta show loyalty to Xbox. We can't be a part of the master race. If you over the age of 25 and you still trying to show loyalty to a company that don't give a damn about you in 2025 when all their games is dropping on PC, you need to look yourself in the mirror and be like, where did I go wrong in life?
So it really goes to show that the thing is, the only thing that these fanboys in fact want is for you to pick one hardline stance, and if it changes in whatever possible way, or you have a different change of heart by perspective, then of course you are flip-flopping, astroturfing, and you're basically just shilling for a plastic box and company, even though they don't realize that's exactly what they're doing on their own shows and streams. It's strange, isn't it? So what actually happened? Well, back in February or late February, Reforged Gaming made this clip, and it actually made the rounds. Let's take a listen.
If the gaming press and the outlets would have treated those earnings calls like they were, I don't know, financial advisors, or if they would have treated it like they were doing analysis of business decisions as opposed to like cheering for a brand, they all would have said the same thing. They would have said, yeah, Xbox is clearly moving into a position of publishing more like a third party than thinking about their own platform first. But they all refused to say it because they were either given reason not to, I don't know, they were given, talking points in the background. Okay. I just feel like this needs to be researched. Like, the astroturfing just feels so obvious to me. So obvious. They all just happened to say the same things last year. That seems awfully coincidental, doesn't it? Doesn't that seem kind of coincidental that they were all just sort of saying, yeah, it's just these four. They're not going to bring over everything. Calling the titles like B-tier titles. They're not that big. They're not that important. Why? Why did they all say that? You don't think that's interesting? You don't think it's interesting that for basically the entirety of 2024, they were all saying very similar things. And now they're doing it again. See, don't you see? It's like nothing has changed. All of 2024, we heard the same. We heard the same obfuscation and the same framing about all of this, and then mysteriously, we're 2 months into 2025, and they're doing it again. They're all saying the same things. It's like, okay, it just feels like astroturfing.
I think the very interesting part about all of this, especially with Reforge is saying, is that he's completely ignoring everything that happened on the opposite side during that. Now, look, this is not a straw man argument like, oh, look at over there. Look, you guys do the same thing. Let's be real about this. This is exactly the same playbook that we've seen from every set of group of fanboys, regardless of whether side they're on. We saw everything from never ever, from PlayStation putting their games onto PC. Well, it's only going to be every few years. Every 4 years, you're going to get a game. Oh, it's not God of War. Oh, wait, it is God of War? Well, it's not Spider-Man. Well, now it's every 2 years instead of every 4. Oh, shoot. Well, now it's not going to be every year, so don't even worry. Oh, it's every 14 months now? Well, now it's not day and date. We're not third party. Look, everybody who bats for a brand does this exact same thing, Reforge. Is what you don't understand. You can sit here and try and call out other people for astroturfing when you yourself have done the exact same thing throughout your entire time while doing this kind of content. You've batted for PlayStation multiple times. There's only one time you haven't, and that was because of their logins, and you knew the second that was going to happen that was a bad thing for consumers, yet for some reason you feel locking away content through other means is pro-consumer or a good thing, but then locking away content via login is anti-consumer and a bad thing. I don't know. You got to pick your battle, I guess. But the thing is this, you're sitting here trying to call people out for astroturfing when your daily show is literally you astroturfing for PlayStation consistently. Journalists don't have to look at things as financial experts because they aren't. They're just journalists who have their opinion about video games. And the top of that, everybody has a different opinion in gaming as well. And those opinions can in fact change over time. That doesn't mean you're astroturfing for someone. That just means maybe you saw things from a different perspective. People have come to me multiple times saying, hey, I used to hate your content, but now that I think about it, PC is the honestly best way to play video games because I get everything for basically free. I don't have to be beholden to a company, and I don't have to worry about anything along that end. I don't have to pay for online. And they go, oh my God, emulation. Oh my God, 60 FPS and even above. Everything else that's inclined to go with it. So you're sitting here and stating that people cannot change their opinion. And if they do change their opinion, it is an astroturfing just because it simply aligns with whatever the company that they like or enjoy saying at the same time. My bigger question to you is going to be this, my friend. Since you're so staunch and beholden about one specific line that you cannot change and you have to stick with, what's going to happen when, not if, but when games go from PlayStation to PC day and date? Because now you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And we're going to talk about that as well. But you see, apparently Paris Lily saw this statement from Reforge, and here's what in fact happened. Khalif, the Positively Peddler Adams, tweeted this out. I can't wait for the algorithm to get smart enough to give me mute options on specific videos from people who aren't tagged or mentioned. If I see another Reforged video on my feed, be gone. With Paris Lily responding, Reforge has become a tabloid account. He says a bunch of nonsense because he knows it will get clipped. Anything for engagement. Whoa! Whoa! Listen. We got some fighting words going on around here between Khalif and Paris. Now, look, I have been critical of Khalif in the past as well. And like I said before, I'm also critical of Paris. The difference is we're going to wear Cammy cosplay outfits together and do deadlifts while we get good angles from the back. But look, besides all of that wackiness happening, the thing is this. When you're turning around and you're saying that people are astroturfing or they're going around and batting for a company, at least back it up with evidence, like I do every time I bring up PlayStation fanboys. I show the tweets that they make. I show their kind of profile. I show how they behave. You can't just sit there, Reforge, and say, well, they're doing this specifically with no evidence whatsoever to back up your claim. You have to have something to bring to the table to actually tell people, hey, look, here's exactly what's happening and here's why I think it's this way. But to do that just on baseless assumption is honestly pretty insane. Because here is a tweet, in fact, from Paris back in 2020 saying, cleaning out my photo album and found this gem. Reminder that gatekeeping games to your favorite platform is dumb. Games can and should be accessible to everyone. Then there's this tweet here in 2021 from Paris as well. As a gamer, in all caps, root for games on all platforms. But this is a business and exclusives are a part of it. Having a logical and reasoned opinion about exclusivity is not being anti-consumer. we're gonna disagree on that one, Paris. We'll have a conversation later. If games are fun, you will find a way to play them, no matter where they live. Games is greater than arguing. Smiley face. Here is Paris in 2022. Why would I ever celebrate a game not coming to a platform? Exclusivity may be a reality of the industry, but in a perfect world, you would play a game wherever you want on any platform you want. Thankfully, the industry is shifting to a model where it's getting close. Now, there's a reason why I brought up Paris's tweet specifically. Even though I don't agree with every single point he made about exclusivity, the fact that I can have that conversation with him shows a very different perspective. Now, here's the thing, though. Reforge apparently got wind of the entire tabloid tweet, and I wanted you to keep those other tweets in mind by Paris as well, because when you hear this next statement Reforge made a few weeks later, things may start to click into place.
This is what I'm talking about with the AstroTurfing. Now, I've never once, people try to take the word AstroTurfing to be literal, okay? I'm not being literal. I don't think anybody is being paid money to do this. But in an era of access journalism, maintaining access is a form of payment. It is. If you still get flown out to events, if you still get included, if you still get to get the press briefings privately so that your articles are ready, if you get to do the interviews, if you get to break bread, all those things. Payment is not required for AstroTurfing. No, it's not. It's not required. It's a very rigid definition of AstroTurfing. I have never once claimed that there has been some quid pro quo. We'll pay you money. You do this. We'll do that. We'll scratch your back. You take care of it. No.
Now, did your head spin a little bit when you saw that clip? I know mine did, because here's a couple of things we have to go over. One is the definition of, in fact, AstroTurfing. And AstroTurfing is the deceptive practice of presenting an orchestrated marketing or public relations campaign in the guise of unsolicited comments from members of the public. It doesn't matter about quid pro quo. It doesn't matter about you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's about whether or not it's coordinated. And you were claiming that there was, in fact, AstroTurfing as a coordinated attempt to then AstroTurf for Xbox. And the entire statement of you being like, I don't mean it literally, really contradicts what you said earlier in the video right here.
Like, the AstroTurfing just feels so obvious to me.
So obvious.
So, Reforge, I'm incredibly confused on this actual set of statements, especially because they are in chronological order. One, you say the AstroTurfing is so incredibly obvious, so obvious by your own words. Then your next statement a few weeks later, when you see Paris calling you a tabloid, is, I didn't mean it in a literal sense because they weren't getting paid. Even though the definition of AstroTurfing doesn't mean you got paid, it is just simply a marketing campaign. You then go ahead and try to state, well, it's not about getting paid, it's about access journalism, having access to specific things is AstroTurfing because you'll be nice for the company to go ahead and give them a better review or what have you, or a better shine of light to go through and have access to them specifically, which honestly is another insane, wild claim to have. So not only did I catch you lying directly to your own audience because of the actual clips being shown, but you're also then, as your favorite word you like to say, you're obfuscating what you're in fact trying to say because you know you in fact got caught. But things turn to an even crazier stance because the reason why I showed you guys those Paris tweets before is because it perfectly lines up with what happens now. After another week later, Reforge then sees exactly what's going on. He then sees that he's getting flack, and here is a statement he makes directly to Paris.
This is my official retraction of insinuating that the people that interviewed Phil Spencer went on later to promote talking points to maintain access. I'm officially retracting that. I have no idea what's behind it, okay? So this is my official retraction to Paris Lilly. If it felt like I was insinuating something or going too far, that's fair, that's fine. I don't know your heart, I don't know your mind. That's an overstatement on my part. I don't know. People do that to me. It's not fair for me to do it to you. This is my official retraction of that. All I will say is then your position on it doesn't seem consistent, and then you're welcome to defend your position. You don't need to defend your character or your integrity. I'm not attacking that. I'm saying that the position doesn't seem consistent, and open invitation to have a conversation about that, to try to make it consistent, to try to make us understand. I'm completely fine to admit when I've overstepped, and I went too far in that. I'm okay to say that. I feel like I went too far, but I don't think I'm going too far by saying, like, I don't think this position's good faith and consistent. It seems like it's come out of nowhere. It's come out of nowhere. We weren't talking like this just 3 or 4 years ago. And if I have to clip that and put it out there later, I'll tag him and let him know, and I'll DM him and say, look, I'm retracting that. That wasn't fair for me to say that.
So, now that you saw that clip, does it make more sense as to why I went ahead and showed you those previous tweets of Paris talking about exclusivity and how more games and more places is good for the consumer? Makes a lot more sense now, right? Now that you see that Paris has kept that position for the last 4 years, 5 years actually, you can see that Reforged stating that he's astroturfing for Xbox doesn't make a whole lot of sense. To then turn around and now state that he wants to retract the statement about astroturfing to Paris to invite him onto his show to have a discussion, and we know what that actually means. That means Reforged trying to question Paris and his integrity about what's going on in the Xbox gaming landscape to then try and question him to try and get a W on his actual stream so that his viewers can see how great of a guy Reforged is and how he's sticking it up for you guys too, my boys. It's the same play he tried on Destin. It's the exact same play he's trying on Paris. Now, I want to be very honest about this. This doesn't mean that Paris isn't devoid of criticism. That's true. True. Even I can get criticized. I know my chat does it to me every single Saturday. In fact, I feel like my viewers are even more critical of me rather than anybody else from any other perspective. On top of that, it's always good to never take yourself too seriously on YouTube. Entertainment should be your first priority. After that, you want to do everything else. But if you consider yourself to be a logician or trying to make yourselves to be some sort of like authority figure in the gaming space, just realize that every word you say, Reforged, is going to come under scrutiny and under a microscope, just like we saw here. You said one thing, flip-flop to another, then flip-flop back, then went ahead and fake apologized, and then asked Paris to be onto your stream. So which one is it going to be, my boy? That's what I'm talking about. If you're going to sit there and claim someone is doing something, at least have the evidence to back it up. But the thing is, you don't. All you want to do is try and get a W on your stream to increase your viewer count, to then go through and state, I debated Paris Lily and I got him. I debated Destin and I got him. Because we see this every single time you get into a kerfuffle online, that you go ahead and you cope about it the very next day and you talk about like, oh, they would never, I'm just here, everybody's picking on me. Why is there playing the victim? My boy, if you go down this road, you will be the gaming version of DSP. That's what you're going to be. You're going to be the fanboy version of Darkside Phil. And what we're doing here is giving you the advice on how not to do that. But apparently you don't, because you did the exact same thing you said you would. You made a clip of that actual video, you put it on Twitter, and you tagged Paris. And things, well, it was a horrible night to have a curse. Reforged Gaming, in fact, did tweet out that video clip and tagged Paris. Let's see how it went. Paris responds to that tweet directly to Reforged and says this: nah, you don't get to accuse people of something on a baseless assumption, ignoring a private message, crying victim, realizing that what you said was nonsense, give a half-assed apology. You aren't a random internet troll, so I expected better from you than conspiracy theories. I never judged your past, and we've had friendly conversations offline, but you saw an opportunity to use myself and others to get engagement and burnt that bridge instead of reaching out and asking me when that line of communication was always open. And I think right there, Paris is in fact 100%. I feel like if Reforged would have given a much better apology, like, hey, look, I don't know the situation, I don't know what's going on, I'm going to reach out to Paris and I'm going to make a public apology, whatever, bro, I'm sorry about saying you astroturfed, we're all good now. Nobody would have cared. Nobody would have known. Nobody would have said anything. It would have all been water under the bridge. But nope, you publicly went onto Twitter and then you went ahead and tagged him publicly to try and get more public engagement to have him onto your show. And then when you got the response that you got, my boy, you got ratioed pretty hard. Not a good look already. Reforge Gaming then responds though saying this: I never used your name for content or for clicks ever. It was a live show where I observed that all who got to interview Phil were quick to run the anti-exclusive talking points afterward. I never even said your name. You continue to spread false claims about what I did and said, call me a tabloid, and signal boost a harasser, and then try to act righteous after such toxic behavior. You didn't DM me. You scolded me like I answered to you. So I ignored it because of what it would have led to. Your response to being ignored was to publicly label me a tabloid and signal boost toxicity about me. Now, remember what I said a few moments ago, that Reforge Gaming is the DSP of our community? There it is, right there, consistently always playing the victim. And the crazier part about this is, just because Reforge didn't say Paris's name early on throughout the entire AstroTurfing campaign, or signaling that, hey, people who interviewed Phil Spencer are now AstroTurfing for Xbox, it doesn't mean that he wasn't implied in the entire action, because Paris did get to interview Phil Spencer, and then magically Reforge is talking about Paris. Even though it's not directly, it is in fact indirectly. You are mentioning him because of the interview that he had with Phil Spencer. So you may not have said his name. Technically, that doesn't mean you weren't talking about him, Reforge. How do you not understand that? And the fact that Paris then reached out to you via DM to have a conversation about it, rather than just being like, hey, cool, can we have a call? Whatever, bro, I'd love to talk about it. No big deal. You then said that he didn't DM you, which we're going to prove that in a moment, but instead you said that he scolded you, like he answers to you. I don't know. I've talked to Paris a couple of times. I've never been scolded. I've been moaned to. Quite often. Chocolate bear. But that's the thing. Reforge, you're acting as if you are in fact an eternal victim consistently, because the response that happens next is truly eye-opening for everyone. Paris replies to that quote tweet saying this: bro, at least tell the truth. This is exactly why you are a tabloid. All your content is in bad faith. I ping you on DM and Discord. Nobody scolded you, but you need public engagement. So you throw out baseless accusations, and when it's proven to be nonsense, you semi-apologize and beg me to come on your show. No thank you. And Paris went ahead and even posted the DM directly to Reforge saying this: I'm looking at your back and forth with Destin, and while I'm not taking sides either way, I do take offense to a video clip I saw where you said people who did the interview with Phil Spencer are afraid to lose access. Being one of those people and knowing it's not true, please don't take your argument with one person and include people who have nothing to do with it. That doesn't sound like scolding to me. That sounds like, hey, if you could do that, please don't, or, you know, communication line is always open. And then he even shows the beginning of the DM with Discord with Reforge as well. That doesn't seem like scolding. That seems like, yo, bro, what the hell's going on? And honestly, that's a pretty normal DM if you ask me. From the DMs that I get, that's pretty easy. It gets even crazier though, because Danny Pena, the co-host with Paris, replies to Reforge saying this: you have no idea how this works. Stop spreading misinformation about how we secured interviews. I find it amusing that creators waste time and energy on clickbait content. This approach is why nobody takes your work seriously. We've been successful for a long time because when I wasn't able to get the show more screenshot, and Reforge replies saying, it's ironic to say I'm spreading misinformation when I never indicated anywhere how you secured your interviews. You also accuse me of clickbait content, which is false. You're spreading a lot of falsehood for someone who's concerned with something I never said about you. Danny responds saying this: you did spread misinformation about how we secure interviews. As the person who actually booked them, I will defend our work. Reforge says, I never spoke to how you secure interviews. This is 100% false. I spoke about the behavior of folks after the interview. The crazy part about this is that now Reforge is going around and splitting hairs. He knows he was caught. He knows what he said is going to come back and bite him. He knows that he is in fact doing the thing that he claims other people are doing, and he's trying to use the word astroturfing as access journalism to try and go ahead and show his perspective that there are people having an, I guess what you would call a PlayStation tax, even though I was one of the first people to say the Xbox tax isn't real, and I got pushback from my own community and everybody else online. It's still not real. Anyways, jokes aside, the thing is, Reforge knows exactly what he got into. And honestly, this was the worst play he could have actually had. Simply going on and saying, hey, I'll be more than happy to go on your show and tell you what's happening, and here's the evidence as to why, and just expose you there. Or come on my show and I'll do that here too. Or at a neutral party, it doesn't really matter. But the thing is, he's not doing any of that. He's making arguments on Twitter. And you know things get really bad because the second he gets called out by not only Danny Pena, but also Paris, and also everybody else online, here's what happens. He deletes all the tweets. They're all gone. They were all deleted. Kaput. Finished. Erased. That's why the screenshots looked weird. That's why I couldn't get the show more. That's why everything looked strange in font. Because going through, he then deletes everything, trying to scrub this under the rug. Couldn't even stick to his guns. But it doesn't end there. Because Paris then went ahead and made this tweet. Since you deleted the tweets and blocked me, I guess your apology and invite was another ploy for engagement that backfired. This is why you are a tabloid. Don't spread misinformation towards creators with baseless accusations, and when confronted, hide behind pearl clutching and victimhood. We all get our vids, clips, and shared. It's part of being a public-facing figure, and if you can't handle criticism, stop speaking nonsense 24/7. The best thing you can do, Lono, is leave me alone and stop spreading misinformation for membership goals. Whoa! That's... Oh my God. That's rough. That's... Oh boy, that was something. That's something I was not expecting whatsoever. And honestly, this is where Reforge really has to figure things out. The criticism that I make about him, whether his fanboyism comes out and talks about PlayStation and PC gamers, isn't trying to break him down or destroy his resolve or break his esteem like he likes to say consistently, where he thinks that my editor Josh is going around trying to destroy him. No, in fact, we're just memeing, bro. We're just taking what you say and making it into a meme and then having a laugh at it. People went ahead the last 2 weeks and did it all about me. And I didn't block anybody. I didn't get mad at anybody. I just turned that into content because you know what? I'm not taking myself that seriously. Criticism is always a good thing, especially if it's coming from people that actually care about you and what you do. I have very close friends that watch my content that say, hey, this isn't a good idea or this is. And even then, I don't always listen to them either because I have to go with my gut sometimes. But the thing is, Reforge, if you're going to be critical of people, at least back it up with some sort of evidence and at least try to have a conversation with them. Because if you don't, all it's going to end up is you falling into your own echo chamber. And I'll tell you this right now, my boy, you've been pretty staunch about parallel development with PC gaming and PlayStation. And here's the deal. At some point, at some day, games will go day and date to PC from PlayStation. And when that day happens, I hope that you're able to look back at this moment and think to yourself, what choice are you going to make? Are you going to fall over and astroturf with PlayStation about how it's going to be a good thing? Or are you going to stand firm and say, no, it's a bad thing? Because the thing is, the way you're holding people accountable into this statement as they can't change their opinion on anything basically goes to show that once your opinion changes, it's going to fall back onto you 1,000-fold. And I think that's the part that you're not getting and that you don't understand. The game industry is changing excessively, overnight, faster than we can actually think. We're moving away from console wars and now moving into platform and content wars. And the fact that you don't see that and you're still harking about exclusivity, thinking it's a good thing, is going to be a really, really rude wake-up call when it hits you guys really hard and really fast. And I don't think you're ready for that kind of day to happen. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section down below. If you liked today's video, thank you. And if you didn't like it, fuck you. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content like this, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We've in fact added a brand new AITTS, and it's honestly insane. Take a look.
I'm gonna build a wall, and Alex is paying for it.
I'm not.
Hey guys, did you know that in terms of male human and female Pokemon breeding, Vaporeon is the most compatible Pokemon for humans?
125% tariffs on all doers.
So I just farted into a pair of shiny black tights.
Now, if you want Discord access and emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Show up Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. Trust me, you'll have a hell of a time, and the community is honestly absolutely amazing. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next time. Peace!
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, man. No more. Where the fuck are your parents? It's time to stop. It's time to stop, man. No more. Where the fuck are your parents? You need to stop everything. What are you doing with your life? This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is cancer.